All right, today's topic is about simple interest, okay? So when we talk about simple interest, we're talking about usually involving money, banks, investments, things like that, right? Interest just being like when you have money in an investment or in a bank somewhere, over time it accrues interest, meaning extra money, onto your account as for as long as you have that, okay? So mostly when you get to real life things with interest, it gets a little more complicated, but today we're keeping it simple, okay? So the first thing we need to know is our formula for simple interest. Okay, our formula is A equals P parentheses 1 plus 1 plus RT. Okay, so that's our formula. A equals P parentheses and then 1 plus RT. So what does each thing mean? All right. So I'll show you. Okay, so A is our current amount. Okay. All right, so A is the amount that we have in the bank currently, like what we have in the current amount in the bank, okay? Our P is our principal, all right, or the initial amount, right, or initial amount. Right, so the principal is the money that you invest in, right? It's the money that you put into the bank first, okay? That's our initial amount. The R is our annual interest rate. Annual interest rate. Okay. And this is going to be written as a decimal. Okay. So R is your interest rate. It will be a percent. Okay, when you see it, but when you write it, it's going to be written as a decimal. Okay. And then the T is time. Time in years. Okay, so T is our time in years. Okay, so A, current amount. What money do we have currently in there? P is our principal, or our initial amount, the money that we put in to begin with. Our R is our annual interest rate. Okay, it'll be a percent, but we write it in the formula as a decimal, and then our T is our time in years. Okay, so when you have these problems, it's going to be some word problems, okay? So I have some word problems here. We're going to go through. It'll be the same ones you have in your notes, or if you're taking notes with me, okay? So I'm going to rewrite this equation, okay, up. The smaller up here. So I'm going to write over here, A equals P, parentheses, 1 plus RT. Okay. All right, so I have some examples here. All right, so my first example says Tanya opened a savings account with $2,100. The bank offers an annual simple interest rate of 6%. Find the amount in Tanya's account after each 3 years. Okay, so after 3 years, okay. So first I need to write down what I know. Okay, so I know I need to have an A, a P, an R, and a T, right? Okay, so my A, my current amount, that's what we're trying to figure out, right? Find the amount in the account, right? So that's the current amount. So this one, we don't know what our A is yet, okay? The P, the principal, what did she start the money with? She opened the account with $2,100. So she started with $2,100. That's our principal, okay? The amount that you start with. Our R, our interest rate of 6%, right? So 6%, right? Now, remember we have to write it as a decimal, okay? So what's 6% as a decimal? 0.06, right? And then T is our time. How many years? 3 years. Okay. So now we have our information. We can take each thing and plug it in to our formula, right? So we're going to plug it in and we're going to solve. So our A stays the way it is, okay? Our P is 2,100, so we're going to write 2,100, and then parentheses 1 plus our R, 6% or 0.06. We're going to use this number here, 0.06, and then our T is time. Our T is 3. We're going to write that in parentheses because we're multiplying. Okay, remember RT, we're multiplying these two things together, so we're going to multiply them down here. All right. So So now we're going to go ahead and solve. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to multiply these two numbers together here. Okay, you do 0.06 times 3, we're going to get 0.18. Okay, and we're going to bring down everything else. I don't know why I wrote backwards, but I did. Okay. So first step, multiply the two here. Okay. Next step, there's parentheses, right? We're going to add the 1 plus 0.18. When you add these together, we're going to get 1.18. All right. And our final step is to multiply these two things together. So when we do 2100 times 1.18, we're going to get 2478. Remember, this is money. So money. Okay, that's it. So she started off with 2100 in the bank, right? She opened 2100. After 3 years, how much money did she have? 2400. So she gained around $300, almost $400, which is actually really good. Not realistic though. If you go on any bank account and look at interest rate for savings accounts, it's going to be like 0.02%. Okay, so it's going to be really not a lot of money. In this example, because we're doing this as an example, it's a lot. Okay, but know that this is not really realistic. Okay. All right, moving on. Next one. We're going to keep these up here. All right. All right. Next one. We got Matt opened the savings account with $1,300. The account earns 11% simple interest annually, which is, like I said, a lot of money. That's not how it works in real life, but the problem is, anyway. What will the balance of the account be after 15 years? Okay, so here we go. So our A, the amount, we're trying to figure out what will the balance of the account be. That's what we're trying to figure out. Okay. Our P, our principal, what did he start with? He started with $1,300. Okay. Interest rate. Interest rate is 11%. Right. Or as a decimal, remember 0.11. All right. And then our T, time, how many years? 15. So 15 years. All right. Let's plug it in. A equals our P, 1,300 times 1 plus our rate, 11%, or 0.11 times our time, which is 15. All right. All right. So first off, we're going to multiply 0.11 times 15. When we do that, we're going to get 1.65. And we're going to bring everything else down. All right. Next, we're going to add 1 plus 1.65 to get 2.65. And then last step, multiply 1,300 times 2.65. When we do that, we get 34.45. That's in dollars. Okay. So in this question, Matt starts off with $1,300 in the savings. After 15 years, he's going to have $3,400. All right. So a plus of almost $2,500. Like I said, not realistic, but for the sake of this question, it is. All right. All right. So now let's throw a wrinkle into it. Right. We'll get one more example. One more example here. So our question here says Jack opened a savings account with $5,000. That's a lot of money. The account earns a 9.5% simple interest annually. After how many years will the balance of the account be $15,000? Round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So, two things we gotta figure out here. Okay, one, what is our question asking us to do? Our question says after how many years, right? So when we do this, we're trying to find our T because it says how many years. That we don't know yet, right? But we know everything else, okay? The second thing is look at what it says right here. Round to the nearest tenth if necessary. If the question asks you this, you know it's going to be a decimal, okay? Which is fine, all right? We're dealing with money, decimals all the time, right? Cents. All right, let's go. So our A, we actually know our A this time. What is the amount in the account right now? The account right now is $15,000. So $15,000 in the account right now, okay? Our principal, what did he start with, though? He started with $5,000.
Alyssa Gatcombe, please report to the car line. Alyssa Gatcombe, please report to the car line.
There's your after-school announcements. So, all right, our R, what's our rate? Our rate is 9.5%, so 9.5%, right? Now, as a decimal, it's going to be 0.095. Remember, just a quick refresher if you're having trouble with the decimal part of it, remember to find a percent, or to find a decimal from a percent, right? The decimal needs to move over to the left twice. So from here, we go 1, 2. So that'd be your decimal. This is 0 in front. So 0.095. Okay, so that's how we get that number there. Okay, just a quick refresher. Now, T is what we're trying to find. How many years? We don't know. That's what we're trying to find. Okay, so now we can plug in what we know and solve for our T. All right. So we know our A. Our A is 15,000. So 15,000 equals our P of 5,000 times 1 plus our rate, 9.5% or 0.095 times our time, T. We don't know what that is, so we're just going to leave it as T, okay? So that's what we're trying to figure out, our T right here, all right? All right, so now to solve for T, first we got to do is get rid of the parentheses, right? But we can't add these because we have this T here, right? So what are we going to do first? We got to take our 5,000, we got to distribute, right? So multiply our 5,000 times 1 and 5,000 times 0.095. So when we do that, we'll bring this down. 5,000 times 1 is, of course, 5,000. Plus 5,000 times 0.095 gives us 475. Our T is still here, so it's still here, okay? Our parentheses are gone now. Okay, now it's a two-step equation. Two-step equation, right? So what do we have to do to T by itself? First thing we gotta move is our 5,000. Put it to this side of the equation. How do we do that? It's a positive. Subtract 5,000 here, 5,000 here. We cancel out. We do 15,000 minus 5,000 to get us 10,000. Okay. Equals what are left here, 475T. And our last step, remember, is to divide by 475 on each side. That cancels. We're left with T equals 10,000 divided by 475, 21.1. That's in years. So when we divided, we rounded to our nearest tenth, which is 1 decimal point, 1 spot for the decimal point. It's 0.1, so 21.1. So he started with $5,000. After 21.1 years, he ends up with $15,000, right? So a lot of money. I mean, it's a long time, right? It's a long time to have to get $10,000, but hey, it's better than nothing, right? So that's simple interest. That's simple interest.